Each month, TIOBE releases an index detailing the top programming languages, and these regular updates highlight granular shifts in this ever-evolving landscape. As TechRepublic previously reported, last month's index showcased booming AI and data mining programming languages, and TIOBE's latest September roundup features a competitive logjam at the top, as a longtime challenger comes for the crown. The Type 3 language horse race between C, Python, and Java remains close in TIOBE's September index. Overall, C tops the latest rankings with an 11% rating, representing a year-over-year decreasing of 4%. Despite this market decline, C was still able to edge out runner-up Python with the number 2 toting an 11% and a year-over-year increase of 1%. Python has never been so close to the number 1 position of the TIOBE index. It only needs to breach 0.16% to surpass C. This might happen anytime now, said Paul Jensen, CEO of TIOBE Software, in a blog post about the latest index. If Python becomes number 1, a new milestone has been reached in the TIOBE index. Only 2 other languages have ever been leading the pack so far. Example of C and Java. Let's see what happens next month. Compared to September 2020, the 4th through 7th position remain unchanged, featuring C++, C#, Visual Basic, and JavaScript in order. Since last September, number 8 assembly language has surged 6 spots, now boasting a 2% rating, and number 1 PHP has dropped a spot during this time period with a 1% rating. Next, SQL rounds out the top 10 with a 1% rating, the same position the programming language held in TIOBE's September 2020 rankings. Over the last year, classic Visual Basic has surged 0.77% and now holds the number 11 position with a 1.52% rating, just ahead of number 12 Groovy. It is important to note that Groovy's rating has increased 0.48% over the last year, one of the largest year-over-year surges in the top 20 after Python, C#, Visual Basic, Classical Visual Basic, and Fortran. In order, Ruby, Go, and Swift hold position 13 through 15. Similar to the same positions these languages held in September 2020, in the latest index, number 16, MATLAB carries a 1% rating, just enough to outlast surging Fortran in the 17th position. Year-over-year, Fortran has leapfrogged 20 spots with a 0.65% rating increase over this time period. Number 18 R and number 19 Perl have both recorded marked year-over-year declines, dropping 9 and 6 positions respectively. Delphi, Object, Pascal rounds out the top 20 with 0.77% rating, up 9 positions, and 0.24% since last September. According to one measure, Python is potentially on the verge of becoming the most popular computer programming language and joining C and Java as the only other language to attain the top spot. Python has been snapping at the heels of Java and C for the past few years on the 20-year-old TIOBE index, and recently knocked Java off the second spot to rival C. TIOBE, a software testing company, bases its ranking on searches for programming languages on popular websites and search engines. The TIOBE index is updated monthly and it doesn't align with other language popularity rankings. For example, the electrical engineering magazine IEEE Spectrum has ranked Python as the most popular language since at least 2020, followed by Java, C, and JavaScript, while developer analyst RedMonk has JavaScript in top place, followed by Python and Java, and places C at 10th. C, created in the 1970s, remains popular because it is a foundational language with direct access to hardware, but it is also prone to memory-related security vulnerabilities. Mozilla hatched Rust holds promise to replace C in systems programming, as seen in efforts underway at Google to bring Rust to Android, a push to make Rust a second language to C in the Linux kernel, Amazon Web Services use of Rust in infrastructure programming, and moves at Microsoft to bring Rust to Windows and Azure. But Rust is nowhere near as popular as Python, which is favored because it is relatively easy to learn and has a wealth of machine learning libraries and frameworks such as NumPy and TensorFlow. Python has never been so close to the number one position of the TIOBE index, writes Paul Jansen, chief of TIOBE software. It only needs to breach 0.16% to surpass C. This might happen anytime now. If Python becomes number one, a new milestone has been reached in the TIOBE index. Only two other languages have ever been leading pack so far, including C and Java. Python is hugely popular because of machine learning, but it has no place in mobile app development or web applications or development on mobile devices. It's also slow. Python's creator Guido van Rossum, who works at Microsoft, recently conceded Python consumes too much memory and energy from hardware. He is working to improve Python's performance and reckons double is feasible. The people who have managed to cross-compile CPython to run on an Android tablet or even on iOS, they find that it eats up a lot of resources, Van Rossum said at this year's PyCon conference. Compared to what the mobile operating systems expect, Python is big and slow. It uses a lot of battery charge, so if you are coding in Python, you would probably very quickly run down your battery and quickly run out of memory, he said. The Python Software Foundation recently appointed a developer in residence to focus on the core Python, the core implementation of open source Python that other versions of Python are based on. TIOBE's top 10 programming languages in September 2021 were C, Python, Java, C++, C#, Visual Basic, JavaScript, Assembly Language, PHP, and SQL. The top 20 languages also include classic Visual Basic, Groovy, Ruby, Go, Swift, MATLAB, Fortran, R, Perl, and Delphi. Fortran's emergence as a top 20 language is notable. Just in July 2020, TIOBE ranked it as the 50th most popular language. But earlier this year, Fortran shot up to the 20th spot in TIOBE's index. Fortran, designed at IBM in the 1950s, remains popular for coding on the world's most powerful supercomputers. However, some United States Fortran Standards Committee members think the language is under threat from other languages eating into domains Fortran historically performed well in. The catch for Fortran is that developing new features also risks breaking old code.